Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Today, Sunday, the 18th of May 2025, Romania will have a rerun of the presidential elections, in which Mr. George Simion and Mr. Dan will be the candidates. Mr. Simion, who is considered a far right, and he's considered by some, obviously, a Putin apologist, made some statements regarding France/Macron's interference in the electoral process in Romania, including the fact, according to Mr. Simion, that the reason why Călin Georgescu and his success in the first elections last year in November was cancelled, was annulled, was because of Macron's orders and France's interference in the Romanians' internal affairs, democracy. Is it possible? I think yes. Is it probable? Let's discuss that. Now, if that were to be true, what would the Americans do? Would the United States of America impose sanctions on France? Will the European Union impose sanctions on France? Will France be considered like Russia, interfering everywhere? Will France be threatened, like Russia was threatened, with the alleged interference in the American elections, remember? So, I have here two candidates, and we're going to discuss Mr. Simion's statements yesterday in France. He had an interview with a French media outlet in Paris, and he claimed that the French tried to interfere and do some hanky-panky in the Romanian elections. And he says that actually these guys are not that democratic. Back off. All right, so let's start with the beginning, which is Mr. Simion and then Mr. Dan. Mr. George Simion, right there. So Mr. Simion is the chairman, founder and chairman of the Alliance of the Union of Romanians, Alliance for the Union of Romanians. It's considered, as you can read down there, a right-wing to far-right political party. Okay, here this is the guy who, according to the opinion polls, should win by far. All right, and this is Mr. Dan. Dan, all right, is a Romanian politician, mathematician, and civic activist, serving as the mayor of Bucharest. Okay, here is the person. And like always, I like to read the early life and education, and it's very revealing to me. Why? Because I know shit. Okay, so early life and education. I always read that, but we're gonna go to that after we'll see what Mr. Simion accuses France of. Russia Today. Romanian presidential frontrunner slams authoritarian Macron. France is attempting to undermine the will of the votes, George Simion has said. France has been trying to subvert democracy in Romania, Eurosceptic presidential candidate George Simion has said ahead of Sunday's runoff vote. Simion, a critic of the European Union, that's a no-no, who has been banned from entering Ukraine, won the first round of the presidential election rerun on May 4 with more than 40% of the vote. Now, if he would have won with 51, no rerun, obviously. The rerun was held after Romania's Constitutional Court annulled the results of a vote held in November, in which independent right-wing candidate, far-right, Călin Georgescu came first with 23%. So these guys got into the damage control mode. I'm talking about the European Union and baboons. The authorities cited quote-unquote irregularities in his campaign as well as intelligence reports that we never found out, alleging Russian interference in the elections, claims Moscow has strongly denied. Simion, the leader of the right-wing Alliance for the Union of Romanians, has backed Georgescu and said he could appoint him prime minister if elected, unless this guy's gonna throw him in jail before that. In an interview published on Friday, entrepreneur Mario Nafal asked Simion if he had received indirect or direct threats from abroad. Simion alleged that Paris, France, was working behind the scenes to persuade Romania's top court, media regulator, and businesses. And I'm quoting, this is Simion. They are putting a lot of money and pressure through their ambassador here and through foreign institutions in order to rob the Romanian people of their vote. Like always, we would like to see the evidence, correct? Simion drew a parallel with the recent decision by a French court to bar veteran conservative politician Marine Le Pen, and you can use the Germans, obviously, with Alternative for Deutschland, from the 2027 presidential election due to the embezzlement conviction. And I'm quoting, "I want to address the free French people against this authoritarian Emmanuel Macron, who doesn't have the support of the French people, who banned Marine Le Pen, who is supporting the idea of imposing a dictatorship in Romania and cancelling the will of the people." End quote, Simion said. He denounced the invalidation of 2024 election results in Romania as a coup d'etat and claimed there were similar evil plans being made against him. And I'm quoting, "The Romanian people were humiliated with the annulment of the elections." Simion said, vowing to resist foreign pressure. "We don't have masters. The age of empires is over. We are free, sovereign nations. And their imperialistic reflexes Emmanuel Macron and others have will only backfire." The French ambassador to Bucharest claimed the Romanian experienced a hybrid attack in 2024. "We understood your decision to completely restart the presidential election from scratch, the DG24 earlier this month." Boom! Romanian candidate accuses Macron of election interference. And here it is. We're going to go whatever it's going to do here. This is what he says. Romania's far-right has accused Paris and Brussels of being behind the annulment, which Simion has called a coup d'etat. "My message is very clear. Back the off. It is not your job to get involved with the free sovereign will of the Romanian people." End quote, Simion said at a press conference in Paris, flanked by French far-right MMP Marion Maréchal. Oh, Marshall? Okay. He accused Macron of dictatorial tendencies and compared France to Iran. And I'm quoting, "You are not an emperor. You are not loved even by the French people. So these attacks are not what we should do in a united Europe, in the future European Union." He tried to score some points here. The point is this. I read, and I'm going to keep reading. I read an article yesterday. I just skimmed through. And they said about 87% of the French people right now would not like to have Macron run for another presidential run in 2020, not 2027, because I thought he can't. Something further than that or something. They don't want to see Macron around, like 87%. He doesn't care. He's got the media and the guys who count the votes. French Minister for Europe, Benjamin, the French Benjamin Haddad, posted on X that deeply deplored the offensive remarks about France and spread of false information. Question for Benjamin, which means in Hebraic what? Not in French, in Hebraic, because it doesn't have a whatever. Okay. When you're my point is this. Question, is it true? That's all I care. I don't care if it's offensive or not. Is it true? He doesn't say, is it false information? Okay, no problem. We're going to find out with time. Here. Not here, but here. Okay. All right. Simion comfortably topped the first round of voting. Simion, 38, predicted that on Sunday I will be the next president of Romania. For how long? In a press conference, and I'm quoting, "I'm not too nervous waiting for the results. We know what the results will be if the elections this time are fair and free. I think so too." All right, so what's going on with these guys? Let's go to the next one. I'm accused of being Russian President Vladimir Putin's friend. That's false. I come from a country where Russia has left only bad memories. You do not know what the fuck you're talking about, Mr. Simion. Not Russia. Soviet Union. There's two different countries, two different entities. So I would like to suggest Mr. Simion to understand that Soviet Union was formed of many countries, and Soviet Union was owned and led until about 60 actually, after if you consider Mr. Khrushchev half Ukrainian, by others, not by the Russians. I have to mention and tell Mr. Simion, Lenin, Soviet Union was not, remember, Russia, as big as it was, if you want to go with the Tsarist regime, you gained your independence in 1877 with the help of Russia and others, and France, by the way. France always got its tail over there. They were against you being two principles, being a country. So, what's the bad memory? He's talking about Soviet Union. You can't conflate them. Remember, Lenin, his name is Ulyanov. He was Russian, maybe 25%. 25%, maybe. That's a maybe. He was something else more than 25%. You know what? All right, Mr. Simion, you would like that answer. Second, who came after him? Stalin. Stalin is not Russian. Stalin was Georgian, from Georgia, Gruzin. His name is Jugashvili. So the biggest crimes that occurred did not occur after 60s, before 60s. And who do you have there? You have Kaganovich, you have Yogoda, you have many other guys that are non-Russians. Okay, Mr. Simion, so when you say about bad memories, please change that into Soviet Union if you want, not Russia. But nevertheless, this is history. It's not me pulling out things out of my ass. Who got your country out of, who got Basarabia out of Romania? Not the Russians. It was the Georgian dictator with the Soviets. Who were over there? Do I need to tell you? Trotsky was not Russian, my friends. Mr. Bronstein, wasn't his name Bronstein? Where was he when the Bolshevik Revolution started? After the Russian Revolution was gulped in by the Bolshevik Revolution. He was in New York to his friends, to the bankers, getting money to overthrow the Tsarist regime. So bring that to your knowledge, and next time when you say that, don't say Russia. Because for people like me and others who know a little bit more, you will look baboonish. That's direct for you. Next one, I don't care. You know what I mean? Anyway. By the way, now it's France. And Germany and Hungary took parts of, Bulgaria took parts of Romania, if you go by that. Do you love Germany? Germany gave northern western Transylvania to Hungary. So I don't want, that's a bad memory. And those were the Germans, were not the Georgians, were not the Jews, were nothing like that. It was the Germans who gave Hungary northwestern Transylvania. And the Germans again gave quadrilater to Bulgaria, to the Bulgarians. Okay? So I want to hear that too. So don't conflate Russia with Soviet Union. Next. This is from Romania, Digi24. Video. Simion îl acuză pe Macron de tendințe dictatoriale. Paralela, făcută între Franța și Iran într-un interviu pentru un post francez. So, Simion accuses Macron of dictatorial tendencies. The parallel made between France and Iran in an interview for the French media. Here it is. And it says, the candidate of our accused Thursday evening Macron and the French ambassador to Bucharest, Nicolas Winery, of implication in the Romanian elections. He said, I love France and I love the French people. Which one are those? Is that Mbappe people? Who exactly? Napoleon people? Those are dead. But I don't like the dictatorial tendencies of Emmanuel Macron, he said. Okay, my friends, let's talk about the elections. Mr. Nicușor Dan, I said I will show you his past. Now, I know from, how should I put it? I know that after before 1990s, when the revolution was in Romania, I don't know the specifics, I have to say from the very beginning, of Mr. Nicușor Dan's transfer from a Romanian school into a French school. Because let me tell you with a foundation. When people received, we call them bursă, okay, scholarship from a foreign institution right after the 1990 revolution, 1989, or before, and you were allowed to go after 1990, you could go. You either were a very, 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 genial guy in your field of expertise in mathematics, or those guys got you so they can get you on their payroll. That's how should I put, intelligence services work. A lot of people went to America and then came back. I'm going to give you an example. Came back and then the doors were open for them, and immediately they just jumped to become mayors of this and then presidents. One example of this is Mr. Saakashvili, Mikhail Saakashvili. Remember him? He was the president of Georgia. I made a video a long time ago, maybe 2 years and a half, and I told you how he got to be the president. He went again, educated in United States of America with a little bursa. Okay, with a scholarship. He went over there, and then when he came back to Georgia, a lot of doors were opened, and he was promoted and promoted and promoted. And eventually, in no time, he became the president of Georgia. Now, that is fantastic. For people who watch movies in Hollywood, that's normal. It's a story, man. It's based on real life story, man. Okay? For people who worked in certain systems and know how things work, they have a lot of questions, and we're like this. Most likely, that person, when he was over there or before going from Georgia to France, from the United States of America, he was racolat, we call it. Racolat means hired by the services, foreign services. And then he was sent back, and he opened doors for these guys. Got that? You can look, for instance, at the French-born former president of Georgia again. Look at that example. We have many in Romania who just were parachuted. I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember the Romanians? Do you remember that 27-year-old, I think she was appointed during Băsescu being the president of Romania at that time, with, what's his name, the prime minister, that guy that is, I can't remember his name. You can find it because you can find it on YouTube. Ponta, Victor Ponta was the prime minister, Băsescu was the president, and Ponta got a Harvard Romanian origin, like I would go, let's say, educated in Harvard here, and I parachuted as the minister of finance. Just like that, boom, poke, from America, boom, straight, come over here, very infantile. I watched the video, you can find it as Romanian speaking, you can go and watch it, is Băsescu asking questions with Ponta and his finance minister. Listen to their answers when Băsescu asks them. And when I saw that, I was, who brought her over there? And Băsescu makes the claim, you're Harvard educated and you come with maybe cool, blah, 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 I expect to be like this. And he's right about it. He's right about it. So I can give you examples with people that were parachuted, but I'm not going to disclose their identity and their serpent ways, slithering. So let's look at Mr. It doesn't mean that if I return to Romania, I'm a CIA agent. Maybe, who knows? But if I go to Romania and in 2 years I become the president, there's a problem. When Klaus Iohannis became the president, I knew on whose payroll he was from the very beginning. From that little Forum German in Sibiu, he became boom, boom. Oh my God, it was like the same with Obama. Just like that. Open doors for these guys. Now, I'm not saying Obama worked with the intelligence services, but you have to agree with them if you want to. Anyway, so this is early life and education. So here he is right here. So he returned right here. In 1992, he moved to France to continue studying mathematics. You don't just move to France in 1992. I was in Romania in 1992. I lived there. You don't just move over there. He followed the courses of École Normale Supérieure. Boom, very good, good for him. One of the most prestigious French grandes écoles. Who paid for that? How? Okay, maybe he was a genius. I don't know. I don't want to. But to get in that? No. In 1992, he moved to France. How? That's the question. How? Okay. One of the most prestigious French, where he gained the master's degree. Excellent. In 1998, Dan completed a PhD in mathematics again in France. Paris 13 universities. Okay? And then he returned to Bucharest that year, giving as reasons for his return his inadaptation to French culture and the desire to change Romania. For me, or for intelligence services and security services, this sounds he received the assignment. And now you go over there, they didn't change his name, as usually these guys do, and we all do that. Okay, he didn't change his name, he came over there and then opened doors. That was in 1998, was it? Pula mea ochelari. All right. He returned in Bucharest that year, 1998. So 1998, he became the mayor right now. He's a candidate for he was trying to be a candidate for the mayor, to be the mayor for a few times. Nevertheless, success story. This is not Hollywood, all right? When I see some Shakashvilis, when I see some this, for me personally, is like big red maybe not for you. I have no evidence, but I'm not a baboon and I intend not to turn full retard in this video. Who do I want to win? Well, neither of these guys. But if I have to pick, I would pick Simion. Now, remember, I voted for Trump, but do I think that Trump reaches the bar, the level of a leader in my crazy mind? No, I don't think so. I don't think any of these baboons, US presidents, reach the bar of a president, of a leader. And they're over there. They're over there. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. If Simion wins, which I think he does, he will win, I think. If he doesn't win, that means the electronic machines or whatever methods, they don't have electronic machines over there. Costly, too costly. But if he doesn't win, for me is again a confirmation of what? You know what? Who counts the vote wins the elections. All right. He will win. We'll see if he's going to keep going with what statements he made. I'm talking about Simion. If he keeps going with that. Or he's just going to switch all of a sudden. He's going to possibly appoint Mr. Georgescu as the prime minister, but in order to be confirmed, you have to go in the parliament and be, confirmed by the votes. And I don't think he will be confirmed because the European Union still has a lot of power. European Union acts like, and Romania is like Pakistan, minus the military plus the intelligence services. Romania is under the intelligence services occupation, not necessarily, internal security services, domestic, foreign, and not the military. Romania has no military, it's zero. It has foreign military on its territory, okay? So it's an own country. I don't know, it's like Pakistan. Remember when those voted a no confidence vote on Mr. Imran Khan, the prime minister of Pakistan, because he said, well, I'm going to do business with Russia. You don't tell me what to do. Yeah? No confidence vote. Overnight, he was out. Overnight. So we'll see what's going on here. Maybe Mr. Simion is going to get a no confidence vote or something pretty soon. Whatever. It's the prime minister usually who gets that one. Thank you very much for being with me again today, my friends. France will deny, but remember, if it's proven that the French interfered, what should we do to France? I mean, I don't think France is a capitalist country. I don't think France is a democracy. I don't think France has nowadays what culture it has. I don't consider France, I'm not taking a dump on France, but I feel sorry that it just screws itself and traitors in charge of them destroy their nation, destroy their culture. There's civilization if you want. And what do we get instead? Diversity and inclusion. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.